It's been a week since the launch of Season 1 of Suicide Squad, meaning plenty of time to experiment with different builds and get a taste of all the new infamy and notorious loot. I've promised a Joker build for the past week now, and now I'm here to deliver. And let me tell you, it delivers. I'm currently breezing past Mastery 52 incursions with this build, and I could go higher for sure, easy. But like I said in my review of the season, I'm just not really feeling incentivized to do so. But I've already made my feelings on the seasonal structure known in my review, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. With all that said, if you're looking to stay up to date on Suicide Squad and its future, we've covered pretty much everything on the season so far, including guides on how to level up and how the whole season works, and we'll continue to do so for episode 2. So, if you're looking to stay up to date, consider subscribing. I always appreciate your time. Right, let's get stuck in. So, we're going to walk through the build, item by item, and then showcase the build in motion with some gameplay and how to apply everything that I speak about in the build. So, this is my Joker build. Now, straight from the off, you're going to notice there's actually a lack of Scarecrow infamy items in this one. And that's because I'm not sure if I'm really feeling the Scarecrow infamy set. Tier 2 is not as useful because you've got to really keep stacking those critical reloads. And Tier 3 is all about being a glass cannon, and I'm not really feeling that build right now. I'm sure someone out there is going to make it work, but for now, I'm all about these notorious items. So the one part of this build that you can change and modify is this first part. You'll see we've got a Bane assault rifle. Now, I'm going for the Bane and Merlin synergy. You can actually modify this depending on how you prefer to do it. So I'm not using this assault rifle, by the way. I'm strictly using the Merlin assault rifle, and you'll see this is what it gives us. So the Bane Merlin synergy, if you kill 3 afflicted enemies within 10 seconds, you gain 100% crit hit chance for 20 seconds, which is really nice, right? And that's what we want, particularly when, you know, Merlin's blinding shot is all about that crit hit chance and crit damage, right? So, going back to it. So, the thing that you can swap the Bane for, and it's all about personal preference, is actually getting a Black Mass synergy. Now, that Black Mass synergy gives us this. Every 20 critical hits, instantly reload your current firearm, and you gain 100% increased crit hit damage for 20 seconds. So it's all about personal preference. I've tried both out. Personally, I prefer to use Bane's item. It just works better for me. I prefer that synergy. So in terms of the augments on the Merlin assault rifle, which is the one I'm using, I've just got crit hit chance a little bit higher, and then damage to brute enemies and infused enemies. I've not really optimized this one, mainly because I'm waiting to get a master drop on Merlin's blinding shot before I do any kind of mastery of that weapon. But for now, this is what I'm using. Into the melee slot, again, we've not got a master version just yet, but this build has got me all the way up to Mastery 15 beyond very easily, so I'm sure a Mastery will just excel that even further. Now, this one is really important, because each enemy you hit with a melee attack becomes poison, so again we're helping spread that poison affliction. Well, it's not even an affliction, but the effect. And then you regenerate 30% shield for each hit that you do. The other part is this villain synergy. When you kill an enemy with a crit hit, it adds a hat to the collection. When you get 7 hats, you get one of those 3 things. Either increasing your damage dealt, but also increasing the damage you take, increasing your affliction resource, which is Brill, and then also completely refilling your health and making you immune to damage, but you do deal less damage. Now, it's a nice little buff. I quite like it. Plus, that initial perk of each enemy you hit becoming poisoned and gaining shield is really vital for the moments where your shields are low and you get in a bit of a tight spot. This part is the key to the build. The Master Polka Dot Man's spotty explosions. Not only is the effect of these grenades wild, but it is a key part. You will see I'm not actually modified this one, but it's because I quite like the perks already on it, particularly the 30% chance to drop grenade ammo on enemies killed within 5 meters, especially when you're in the thick of the action. So each time you throw a grenade, there's a 50% chance the explosion propels up to 3 additional polka dots out of the explosion that turn into, that. Each explosion has a 50% chance to then apply poison to the enemy hit. Massive, right? Especially when we're talking about those higher difficulty masteries. Hitting them with poison is vital to making sure that their health stays low and we're doing extra damage. This is the fundamental part of the build, particularly for getting your combo going at the start. and I'm going to talk about the talent tree in a little bit. Shield mod wise, we've got the Master Turtle Shell. Again, I've just done this so more assault rifle damage because we're going to be shooting Merlin's assault rifle, and then more crit hit damage. This part, when you hit enemy with at least one enhanced traversal attack, you gain 90% damage reduction. Massive, because we're going to be basically cycling between your grenade and your enhanced traversal attack, and it's just going to absolutely clear, especially on those like grunt base levels. It does wonders. Then we got Dr. Psycho's Psionic Barrier. So again, I've just modified this to grenade pickup, traversal attack damage, and then traversal attack resource, again just to help this build out. In terms of the synergy, each affliction you apply gives you a different bonus for 25%. Now, Diablo Blaze is what we're going to be essentially applying to everyone, which will then give us even further damage reduction, so it's a really nice. Not just that, but afflicted enemies within 20 meters of you now deal 50% less damage. So not only are we really, going out there and applying a lot of damage ourselves, but we're reducing the amount of damage that we're taking, which again on those higher masteries is vital. So this is the one piece of Scarecrow gear that I've got in here, mainly because crit hits apply poison to the enemy hit. So you do want a tier 1 of any kind of Scarecrow item in here. I've just gone with this one, and again, it's massive because, like I say, crit hits apply poison to the enemy hit, and when we have, like I say over here, something that is focused all around doing critical hit damage, it's massive. But alongside that, the fear bonus, which is I think what this seasonal bonus is, increases your damage reduction from poison enemies by 25%. So if you're thinking about all the crit hit damage that we're doing while we're shooting our gun, and then you're thinking about the amount of effects that we're applying with poison and shortly Diablo Blaze, we're really reducing the amount of damage that's coming in as well. And then the final piece is Dr. Poison's Affliction Attunement. When you kill a poisoned enemy, there's a 100% chance your damage to afflicted enemies is increased by 110% for 30 seconds, which can stack up to 3 times. Which again, we're spreading poison all over the shop. That's massive. It means we're doing huge damage to the enemies. Like I say, the Scarecrow Dr. Poison, enemies you afflict now take 100% more damage and also become poisoned while afflicted. So when you're thinking about, and again we're going to talk about the talent tree, when you think about Joker's Firestarter and spreading the Diablo Blaze affliction, we're also poisoning them at the same time, which is all about this season. So let's go over to the talent tree. There's a few key ones that are vital for this build. So the first one is increasing grenade damage and explosion radius. Again, all about dropping those polka dot grenades, which already have a huge radius on them because they can blow into other grenades. So that's a big one. Critical hit damage here with assault rifle and has a chance to not consume any ammo, which is again massive for what we're trying to do. Hitting 3 or more enemies with a grenade generates 5 combo, which is going to be huge at the start of every single mission to building our combo up. Increase the number of grenades you can carry by 1, again massive. 4 grenades is better than 3. At combo 20 or higher, successful counters increase the damage of your grenade by 100%, which when we're doing big grenade damages is, again, massive. This one, again, is massive. So firearm damage is increased by 75%, but crit hits also apply burn. So like I say, applying an affliction will give somebody poison, and in that we're causing critical hits to burn enemies, meaning they're going to be both burning and poison, which means we're going to reduce the damage that's coming in by a lot as well. A few other key important ones is performing a Razzle Dazzle traversal attack, try saying that fast, increases the damage of your grenade by 10% for each enemy killed, which again, massive. And then this one as well, at 50 combo or higher, increases your grenade damage by 100% and also applies burn to those enemies. And again, if we're applying burn, we're applying poison. This is a massive one, especially for higher difficulty levels. For how easily Squad Ultimate is generated, spawning 3 grenade ammo every time you pop that means you can just fly around the map while everyone is in slow motion and just throw grenade, throw grenade, throw grenade, and it keeps spawning one every 5 seconds. And if you think about how the polka dot grenade goes into other little mini grenades, we're just spreading that poison everywhere that we can possibly spread it. And again, this one, Razzle Dazzle traversal attack hits burn enemies. So it's all about both applying that burn, which then applies the poison, and then doing extra damage with our traversal attack and our grenade attack, right? So it's really huge in terms of what we're looking to do here. And then one final one that's important is killing burning enemies with firearms has a 30% chance to spawn grenade ammo. So really, this build is all about 1, critical hits, particularly with those lantern shields, 2, which is then grenade, and then applying both burn and poison, which either way, if you apply burn, you're applying poison. If you just apply poison, that's also okay. And then we're also thinking about how much damage we're taking, which is very, very minimal, because we've managed to, anytime that an enemy is burning or poisoned, we're reducing the damage that is coming in towards us. So that's the in and outs of my Joker build. In terms of like the talent tree of the social squad, like the squad levels, I've not really delved too deep into this just because I enjoy applying as much XP and getting up the levels as I can. If I was to recommend one, I would say grenade damage, which is massive, and then I believe we have a crit hit damage, right? Both huge and definitely important to applying extra damage if you're looking to really, really min-max. I just like using the XP to unlock as many levels as possible for the time being. So that's the Joker build in itself. Next, we're going to walk into how this works in the actual gameplay. In terms of applying it to your gameplay then, we're going to use a Mastery Level 51 incursion, which is just the Justice League infused enemy incursion, and you will see the ease in which we dispatch these enemies. In terms of getting the build going, we're going to be wanting to spam our initial allocation of grenades on enemies to start building up our combo meter, and then raining fire from above with Merlin's assault rifle and start hitting those critical hits. Once all the enemies start to gather and we're out of grenades, it's time to use the squad ultimate to our advantage, slowing down all the enemies and using that talent perk which resupplies our grenades during our squad ultimate, and you'll now see we're getting rid of the Green Lantern shields, which means it's time to use the traversal attack. Spread that burning, apply that poison, and we're taking out a good chunk of enemies. On the high level masteries, you will want to watch out for snipers or choppers who will stun and freeze you on these levels, so I sometimes like to drop back down, hit some enemies to recuperate shields, and with that Mad Hatter melee, we're always increasing our shields back up, collect a few more grenades, and then it's all about just rinse and repeating, using all grenades available and assault rifle hits which take out the lantern shields, into the traversal attack, refill the grenades, and then spam them out during the squad ultimate. Obviously, this varies incursion to incursion. On the Brute and Vehicle mission, it's a little bit more difficult to apply this, but it is manageable. Just forget about the tanks and the choppers and focus on the gold brutes. And that's the cycle really. Grenades, shoot, traversal, ultimate. Rinse and repeat. It's just all about applying that poison and burning, meaning we're taking less damage from the enemies, but also doing more in the process. Again, in terms of gear augments at Toy Master, I recommend traversal build up, crit hit damage, traversal damage, and increasing item pickup radius for those stray grenades that are lying about. That's my Joker build. That's burning through these mastery levels. There's no master versions needed here, though of course it does help. And just do the same thing here, and it'll be nice and easy for you. Let me know in the comments then, what kind of build have you been rocking? If you do try this build, let me know your thoughts on it. What do you think of the Scarecrow Infamy set? I just don't think it's as strong as Bane's. What's your favourite incursion to run out of the 6 new ones for this episode? If you did find this build helpful, dropping a like on this video is the best way to show your support, and it helps me out a lot, so I would appreciate it. Like I say, if you want to stay up to date on Suicide Squad, or just comic book games in general, I've got you covered, so consider subscribing. Have fun with this Joker build, have a terrific day, and I'll catch you in the next one.